Hello everyone, welcome for the 3-monthly MT-ST meeting. It's really important for us to keep in touch. Our strength comes from unity, our substance, and working together. Together, we're just so much stronger. And I remember a very, very old story. I'm going to tell you this story. I don't know if I would like to hear if you heard this story. It's a very old Chinese story that there was an old man who had 10 kids, and he was dying. So he before he go, he got all the kids together, his sons together, and he had 10 arrows. And he showed the kids, here's one arrow, and if I put 10 together, who can break it? Mm-hmm. That was his message, and I heard it when I was a kid. Had anybody heard that 10 arrow story? Yeah. Wow. Gee, you guys can be as Chinese as I am now. Yes. Yeah. So we are really doing well considering the quite critical time, and everyone's contributing to this. And certainly, I'm seeing, I think, mostly USA colleagues, but welcome especially to Chris from New Zealand and my Australian friends here. Those are the 3 countries I can see at the moment. So, but I think USA has most people, and at the moment, certainly, especially considering the pandemic, all that, the USA has been most successful in bringing Tai Chi to people, especially with the government support. And I'm going to just before I go a little bit further to let you know that there are many people did want to come and saying their apologies. So I'm going to make this a recording and send it to everybody. So please, if you are not in this meeting, be sure to just go through the whole things and look at all the things we talk about, and especially write back to me, if you have any concerns, any ideas. So there's several important things that I want to share. The first thing, as I was saying, is that USA is really successful, especially in terms of working with the government. Life goes in circles. I remember in New Zealand, Chris, that you were the leader. The New Zealand government has paid Tai Chi classes for around 10 years. And amazingly, to start with, Tai Chi for Health wasn't there. But soon, eventually, by the time they finished at the end of 10 years, we have about 85% of the classes from nationally. And the government did a number of studies. The latest study shows that the Tai Chi classes, for every dollar they spend, they save $10 on preventing falls. So let alone other health benefits. But on that sort of incredible scientific study, that is the time they abandoned Tai Chi after 10 years because of change of government. They don't say they abandoned it. They changed it to beautiful words and all that, but they did. They stopped the whole program, the national program. So it's really, really important I think to have government support, because, government is there to do things for us, but they don't always know. There is nothing that help people more than what we're doing, improving people's body, mind, and immunity, making people happier, harmonious, making a country eventually even a better country, and with such a small cost. And yet, it's really hard to get there and to maintain it. To get there in USA, certainly Alina's here, with Alina and Stan's help. That was how we eventually got a foot in the USA government with NCOA and continued funding. And I think, if Alina, correct me if I say anything wrong here, that our program has more funding than any other programs. And that comes with incredible amount of work that you might not realize how much work it is. Just because we have an incredibly good program proven by medical studies, and we have an institute, we have a lot of you who contribute and did so much work, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will be successful. There's a lot more involved. And one of the big things involved is, of course, to be in touch with the government body, with the personnel there, and to show how we run ourselves, keep our standard, and so on. So I got some message from Alina. Then I want to share with you guys that I'm not from USA, but for the USA people, if you have any chance in anywhere in contact with any government officials, please just make sure that you are working within the guideline of the Institute. And I want you to know that Alina is and has been spending so much time, I think 10 years, being the representative of the Institute, officially nominated by the Institute, and she worked so hard on it. Just be sure that we are unified and don't give different opinions. And you know, Pat is the head of the education committee in in the Institute. So those two are the key person to maintain our voice, right? Be sure. I'm going to ask Alina and Pat to write a guide that if you have any contact, any presence in government body, government meetings, or any officials, here are the things we'd like you to sort of follow so that we look solid and consistent as an organization. You might remember a few years ago, there was this program about the dosage. I didn't know what's the dosage and I learned the dosage. Someone's echoing. Can you mute yourself? Yeah. I learned the dosage is how many time you practice before you consider to finish the program. So you can see that in the stage 1, and I mentioned what it is, and then we took a lot of work, sending email to all the instructors, master trainers, senior trainers, talk to everybody about, hey, if you have any connection with the USA government funding bodies, you need to understand what is a dosage, and we have to have the same dosage. And I think that's been successful, has it not, Alina? But it was a lot of work from everybody. So likewise, we stay together and work together. And please, Alina and Pat's going to write a simple guide for you to follow, and please follow that. And if there's anything in particular that Alina or Pat want to add anything to that, please.
So I just want to say over the 10, 13 years that I've been involved with this, that it's really been, what I noticed with the NCOA is that we really needed to build our professional credibility. And it's taken those years to get the confidence of the grantees and to be looked at as professionals in within our craft. And we do have some very good things things available to the practitioners. So, and the instructors are also, they're following great guidelines, they're doing great work. And I just encourage us to represent a unified front to these people, because we take a great majority of the funding from the ACL. When they look at a program, they're going to look at a program that's easy to apply. And ours seems to be that way for them. So they have a very different lens than we do on what their guidance, what their parameters are regarding the grant. So I ask that you try to understand, learn. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to help. But ultimately, the grants are applied by the grantees to the grantor. And they have more information on that than we do. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, thank you, Elena. And I also have had the opportunity to work with a couple of federal agencies this year with other MTs. Thank you very much. And it's really important that if we aren't in agreement or something sounds puzzling, to discuss that outside of the meeting, outside of when we're meeting with the outside people. That's all. Because we are united and we do work with great consistency and fidelity. And sometimes we forget that and we think that it's always an MT meeting with colleagues, but it isn't always. So just a reminder.
Thank you, Pat. And I just like to mention that even though there are people from other countries, we have one more country, Singapore. Our chair, Dr. Lau is here. And we have Philip from Belgium. So I just want you to know, even though what Pat and Alina say is not necessarily directly related to us, but Rodney has a lot of experience working with governments and organizations. USA, like whether we like it or not, is the leader in so many things in the world, and people do follow them. And our government might come back to follow them. And we can certainly learn from what our colleagues been doing in different countries and bring it to our country. So don't think everything is relevant. We are an international body, and by working together, we're stronger. Yeah, 10 arrows is stronger than one. Was there anybody want to talk about this issue before I move on to the one that's slightly related to? Okay, maybe the easiest way is if you want to say something, send Ernie a message, and then Ernie can sort of slot in if there's a lot of you like to say things. Yeah, send Ernie a chat note. Okay, the next thing is on this uniform and standardization. As you know, or I hope you all know, that I have created the stage 1 for all Tai Chi for Health programs. And each of them, especially Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention, they are essentially how I would run a workshop if I have several months to prepare, to write down what I'm going to run it, and another few months to get feedback from my colleagues who runs lots of workshops, and then I put it together and put it in record, in videos. And so essentially, as this been around for 3 years now, and many of you, for example, Jocelyn runs so many workshops with stage 1, and I run a couple. Certainly from everybody who used the stage 1, it has proven to have been more effective. People are much better prepared. And so therefore, with 1 day training or 7 hours minimum, actually we get better results. Remember, our key is our mission as a master trainer and helping by senior trainer is to train safe, effective instructors. That is the ultimate goal. And this is one way that can really standardize. For example, Elena can present it to any funding body. They can have a look at exactly what we do, what we ask people to do, and the evidence behind. Everything is in that stage 1. So, okay, so after has been consulted, constructed, tested, I'm going to make this a official requirement for every instructor's workshop. And together with that, I will send you emails. Your participant would purchase the program directly for $80. And then every master trainer will have a code. You can give your participant 30% discount. So that will be $56 US, which is relatively close to the DVDs. Just before I go further, every master trainer have the ability or the right to go use the old system. If you really don't like it, for whatever reason, you can use it. You only have to do 2 simple things. To make sure if you go to the old system, it has to be minimum of 14 hours or 2 days, which is what you've been doing before. Number 2, you have to write an email and explain why. It doesn't have to elaborate, just your reason, 2 sentences, write it to the Institute for a record. So that is the only 2 requirements for you to go back to what you're doing. Not really a lot of demand, but with any other, if you want to use this, it's no longer called stage 1 or stage 2. We're going to call it the required preparation package for the respective program. And as I mentioned, it'll be cheaper. On top of that, I'm going to supply any master trainer on any reasonable request a 50% scholarship or 100% scholarship on purchase of that program. So if you are with a funding body and they can't spend any more money, you can write to me and I'll give you a special discount code for people to obtain it for a discount of 50% or 100%. So in other words, some of the participants can get the whole package free. And as some of the master trainers told me that they want the package to go for a year instead of 6 months, and it will be. Some of the master trainers also ask if people can continue to have it. Yes, they have a choice. They don't have to, but they have a choice. So once they pay $56, they have the whole material. And that material includes 6 webinars that I talk about the history of Tai Chi, how to be a good teacher, and so on. So there's a whole host of material that that would be very helpful for all the instructors. Essentially, this is what happened. The main thing is then remember the goal is to train safe, effective instructors. So then it's up to you to decide. Everyone come to, let's say, Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention, have to have that preparation package plus the teaching book. And then you can, if your workshop's like that, you can run it in any hour you like, between 7 hours, minimum of 7 hours. So there's no stage 2. If people prepare like that, and if you're happy to run it in 7 hours, because sometimes people need longer time. So it's like a stage 2, but except it's a normal workshop. Or you can run it in 2 full days. That's up to you. You run it to 3, like even now, the 2 days is minimum. You can run a workshop for a whole week. That's fine, as long as you reach people, you're happy to spend the time, people happy to come and pay whatever you charge them. And if people reach that standard of required proficiency, then they will be qualified. So that is your discretion. You got to make sure people reach that standard. And so essentially the only change is there is a required package, and the minimum time of contact has come down from 14 to 7 hours. But you're welcome to still do the 14 hours or 28 hours. So I will write to you, to all the MTs. This is just a sort of a little preliminary talk. Let me know. I already have consulted a number of people, and of course the construction was helped by many of you. So do let me know if you have any concerns. I think one of the concerns from Australia was the founding body have problem increasing the fees, which is not really that much. That's really minimum increase, but that's why I created scholarship. If appropriate, I will give scholarship for people so that your participants still pay the same amount or even less if necessary. And that really brings the consistency to anybody else. Pat, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Just was trying to follow all the details, and you said that we had asked, or several people had asked about if the package could last a year. And did you say that it is for 12 months now? Or I'm not sure. The end part.
It's not. There's a lot of work to be done to make this happen. But when it happens, it will be. It's not yet. This is just there's a lot of things to be done, website changes, and I have to. That's the beauty of the preparation package, is that I can go back and change it and update it to change the introduction, change all those things, re-video that, re-upload all that. That it will take a little time for it to happen. So everything stays as it is until our website designer, everything else is ready. But yeah, Pat, go ahead.
Question too. A lot of us have some workshops posted now under the old delivery systems, either stage 1+2 or Zoom or live in person for 2 days. So for now, we just leave them. We just need to keep this in mind for the future. Okay.
Right. I would think, yeah, you probably October or November or even the new year before we start the new system. So please continue, and there will be a phase-off period for you to change. And I want to repeat that again. There's a concern that some people, some group might not have internet and so on. So yes, master trainer have a discretion to use the same system as before. All you have to do is make sure same before 2 days, right? You can't do it you can't take the minimum of 7. You got to do the same, and then you have to write just a brief note to the institute as a record. It's not to ask permission, but to just state so it's in the record. Ronnie, go ahead.
We started the conversation about having a standardized response, like across the world, to different things. And I'm just wondering, because I will probably continue with the 2-day workshops. I've updated some people who did the stage 1 and 1 day, and I was really quite shocked at some of their Tai Chi movement. So I will get asked questions moving forward. Why aren't you offering, 1-day package and 1 day? What would be a good response that as a community we'll have a stock standard response to, well, it's just our choice? Or
I'm sorry, I didn't quite answer the question. Did you say you tried the stage 1 too, or did you say did it for update.
I've been on your workshops at the stage 1, and there was quite a few people who hadn't done the preparation or weren't so good. So and I've also updated some people who did the stage 1 process. So what I've sort of witnessed, I want to continue along with the 2-day workshop. I think that really works well for me, but I know I will be asked a lot of questions from people. Why are you choosing this path? And so, I mean, will we just say there's 2, options, so we can choose what we like, just so we do have a consistent response to that question around the world. And I understand, I think it's great that we can, choose what we'd like. I think that's terrific.
Well, Ronnie, I'm a little surprised. First of all, the people who done stage 1 with the people who run a lot of those workshops, and myself too, I work with a group of master trainers. If people don't meet the requirement, they don't get to be certified until they done the program. And so I'm not aware what you say. The consensus opinion is for just about everyone who done the stage 1 and 2 told me that the preparation level was better, the success rate was better, and there will be very few people who come to update from the stage 1 and 2 because it's just fresh. So I don't see any difference if they meet the requirement 2 years ago, just like our normal training. A lot of people come to update, and we are surprised how little they know. So it will be, I don't see.
Well, maybe anomalies, but that's just been my experience. So I guess my question is, so we have a consistent approach when people say, why do you offer 2 days and other people offer 1 day? It might be useful to have a stock standard reply, so we're all on the same page.
Sure.
That's
well,
what we talked about at the beginning.
I certainly would love to, especially including you, to have send me a note, and we try to work out a uniform answer, working with the Institute.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I have about 6 people wanting to speak. I can give those questions to you in order. The last 2 popped up were for master trainers in Australia. Anastasia wants to follow directly after Ronnie, but there were some others, US, that had questions ahead of that. How do you want to handle it?
Go ahead, just in order of presentation, but I'm going to get Pat to talk first because Pat's the chair of education.
Okay, Pat, go ahead.
And then in order of I will answer all questions.
Okay. And I'll be really quick. It was right on top of what Ronnie said, a uniform response. I just had to write an email like that, and I used the phrase delivery platform. And I said, we now have several delivery platforms and ways to present the programs. Here's what you should consider. And I laid out their choices, and I said, we meet the same standards, and now we have options on how to deliver the training. So.
Brilliant.
Okay, so the first one that popped in at the beginning of your talk, Dr. Lam, was Master Trainer Kate. Kate, do you still have your question? You want to rephrase it? Kate McKee?
There we go. Yes, well, it's a simple question. I have a workshop scheduled for September, and these folks literally in the last week or 10 days have bought their link at the full price, which I'm not concerned about, but I can anticipate questions from them if someone who buys the link a month or two later has a full year rather than just 6 months of access. So I would just ask, as you think through the questions about transition, maybe grandfather people a little bit in terms of that, because it will prevent some painful discussions for me.
Yeah, thank you,
Is
Kate.
that clear?
That's a good question. I will talk to the IT specialist. Yeah, 6 months to, I'll write down notes. It's really the logistics of how to run. Things
Yeah.
I seem simple to me, might not be to them. So I'll talk to them about it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good question.
Thank you.
Okay, Elena, Leanna Olson was the next one with a question for you.
About, you kind of alluded to it, how the recertifications are going to be handled, and are they being handled stage 1 right now?
Recertification, in my mind, is the same as before. You can certainly use the preparation package for people who haven't done it before. You can also use it for people who have done it before as a refresher, but it's still the same in the sense that you still need to see people, and probably the minimum time, if they use if they use the package and have completed, then you can do your update half the time instead of 1 day. It can be a half day. But yeah, I think that would be a discretion of the master trainer, essentially the updates.
If I could add one more to that, I'm a little confused about Tai Chi for Energy and Tai Chi for Energy 2, if they're now one package.
No.
2 separate certifications.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thanks. Yes. Well, actually, I like all the part 2. My personal idea was no need for certification, but the consensus opinion from the Institute is that there is, especially for safety concerns, and so all the part 2s have a separate certification. Thanks.
Nina, Zeldin, Dr. Lam.
You already answered my first question, which was whether existing workshops would be affected by this, but not. You already answered that question. But in between, I now have another question. What about updating people with the correspondence package, and then meeting with them? If they complete the correspondence package, do they need to meet with the master trainer for the full 1 day, or is it less?
Well, at the moment, what I see is the update is the same as before. It's just the only difference is the master trainer have a discretion of using stage 1 if it's appropriate to them, and to only be appropriate to them to cut down the hours. So essentially, the concept of this change is so that the master trainer have a discretion to feel that this workshop should be 7 hours at 1 day or 2 days, and that kind of logic follows through with the update as well.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
We have a question from, were you finished? Yeah, okay. We have questions from Trevor and from Anastasia. I believe Trevor got in there just a little bit of Anastasia, and you'll be next.
I've actually responded in the comments. It was around Rani's question, and I think it's really just going back to the minimum requirements for everyone, regardless of which course they have, and just saying that we're offering we have different offerings to meet the different needs of our participants, rather than getting into the nitty-gritty of it, is probably the best way to handle that. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Trevor. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, different platform. Yeah.
Anastasia, we're next.
Oh, hi, thanks. Yes, just going back to what Rani said. First of all, I want to say I love the idea of stage one, as we're still calling it just at this moment, as a prerequisite for a course. However, I found as well in my experience that a 2-day course followed on from that would be much preferable. I've had experience of participants who have come to a 2-day workshop with me, and for a different course, not the Tai Chi for arthritis, and they've said how different they'd done the stage one and then just a 1-day course online, and they said how different they found that to doing a 2-day course, and so they had that self-awareness that they didn't feel that they were up to speed as they did once they'd done a 2-day workshop. So yeah, I like the idea of continuing on with a 2-day workshop, but I really like the idea of stage one being a prerequisite.
Thanks, Anastasia. Well, that here too, what you are listing, the difference between online work and face-to-face work is comparable but incomparable in some way. So, you know, of course, the face-to-face workshop, every face-to-face workshop I've done since late last year, people come to me with, wow, it's not certifying workshop, so different. But when I did the online workshops too for the last few years, there were also a lot of very positive feedback, and many people expressed they couldn't have come, they couldn't have afforded. And then I've seen some really great results. There is that personal energy that nothing can replace it. And unfortunately, we have a replacement which kind of achieve quite a lot, but not necessarily the same. The personal energy is just special. So when you compare that to, maybe if you compare that to a stage 2 face-to-face, to your 2-day, or what you really need to compare is a 2-day normal preparation, half a day don't do the DVD, don't read the book, which is the case, yes, to 1 day face-to-face who have got the certificates complete the stage 1, and see who live more effective. That is what I'm looking at, and that is the feedback I'm based on. And compare apple to apple. And essentially, like, I don't limit, what we did is, you can, of course, 2 days better than 1 day. Gee, you know, my one workshop, I wish to be a 1-month workshop, but you know, there is the practicality that a lot of people love that 1 day, they can only 1 day come. And if we can get the same result or better, that is the goal. What I'm looking at is.
Sorry, Paul, just to add to that, Paul, I think if the first workshop that anybody ever does, if they do a Tai Chi for arthritis, that the prerequisite would be that they would do stage 1 as a preparation, come to a 2-day workshop, but then if they did following workshops like Tai Chi for diabetes or any of the other health programs, that then it would only be required that they did the prerequisite course online and then came to a 1-day workshop, just so that you've got that consolidating first workshop of 2 full days.
Well, you know, in my mind, I think I understand what you're saying. Let me put it to another way. If it's practical, it's possible, I would love to train every instructor for a month, or maybe a week, maybe 3 days. In fact, we used to start with 3 days. The first workshop was 3 days in arthritis, Victoria. So what I'm saying, I guess I'm being mathematical here. The outcome of a 2-day workshop with previous preparation material, let's say you are happy with 70% who reach that standard. And it compared to face-to-face, 1 day and the preparation package, and if you reach 71%, then you are still ahead. Your time, their time, practicality, cost. However, 2 days with the preparation package, you reach 90%. Great, that's fantastic. And if you do a week with the preparation, you get 100%. That's even better. But practicality, cost. So for me, I see the Institute is to set a standard that is uniform. All our graduates reach those standards. The 70% or 71% reach that standard, then they're there to teach. However, definitely, if we have the opportunity and time to spend another day, another 3 days, great, fantastic. So that is what I'm looking at. Even if it's 1% more, that's still worth it. You get the same result with 1 day less resources. In fact, that's the whole thing of Tai Chi for Health programs. I trained Tai Chi for nearly 50 years now. In the traditional sayings, you got to learn Tai Chi 10 years full-time before you can teach. So my idea is really to understand the depth of Tai Chi, make it most simple, the core idea that actually improve health, achieve the object in the most affordable way in terms of time, effort, and so on. And that is how our team create Tai Chi for Health programs. And that is why we under so much criticism. People saying, we spend 2 days, how can you train an instructor, and all that sort of thing. But we prove it with studies. We prove it overall in USA that our instructors are better in helping people achieve their goals in 2 days face-to-face training. And what we can do is the outcome, how much we can help people. We have that ability. So, okay, next, Rosalie, please.
Let's go back. Erica had a question early on, and then Deborah Dunyanki after that, and Darcy following. Erica, was your question answered? No,
So,
we lost.
while we're waiting, I want to tell you, I'm really glad there's so many response, and yeah, I'm really listening, and I'm trying to create a perfect thing to reach our goal. Remember, it is to empower people to improve health and wellness. That is our goal. Erica, go ahead.
You seem to have lost
Yeah.
Erica. Oh, Erica, are you back?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I don't think my question was answered directly, but after Ronnie's question, I thought, well, maybe would it be better for the 2-day workshop for a larger group? But if you're working more one-on-one with someone or a very small group, then maybe the 7 hours would be a lot easier to do. But if you've got a really large group, maybe you really should think about 2 days to cover everything. So that was what I was looking at. So
that makes sense, Erica, that the master trainer do have a discretion, but remember there's a limit to the number you can train. With our assistants, we did set a limit to how many, I think it's 25. You can't train more than 25 with our assistants for a class. But yeah, what you say makes sense. That is why it's flexible. Yeah, you can do more than 14 hours. You can train people for a week if they let you.
Okay, and Betty, you were next.
Okay, just something to think about for the part 2 for TCA2 and TCE2. those people are going to need the online lessons. So think about making those accessible to them for 12 months, just like they would have their stage 1 for those programs accessible for 12 months. Just something to consider.
Those programs, part 2, don't have preparation material.
Correct, but they will need the video lessons for the
video,
movements.
The videos as it is, 2 months subscription, just as everything else. We really can't change everything. You know, the sales of DVD went down 70%, and workshops, I have a hard time to make even. And if I go bankrupt, I can't continue to produce anything good. Oh, but we are doing something with the online lesson, though. Now that you mentioned it, sorry, I forgot that. We are bringing down the cost. We're working on bringing down the whole cost of the online lesson to monthly subscription, which means cost half to start with. And we're going to give all the instructors a special discount code for their participants. So to bring each title $10 a month. And we also cut it down to we're still working out the logistic of it. Like for a year, we're going to cut the cost right down to a lot cheaper. So we are working on that. Yes, sorry, I'm not thinking. Yeah, so thanks for bringing that out. We are working on it. We have the package. We really bring down the cost. Yes, I want you to know. You guys are my friends, so I'd like you to know I always told my staff this story. This is, and we still maintain that. There's 2 stories I tell them. If I used to sell videos, right, many years ago, or DVDs now. If we can sell 100 DVD and I make $100, of course I make more, but and we can, instead of selling 1,000 video and I still make $100. I would sell 1,000 because more people can use it as long as I make enough to keep. And if some of my staff will say that they spend half an hour talking to somebody and they ended up bought a video, and well, you know, half an hour costs $25. A staff costs $50 an hour roughly, very, very basic. The cost of running it and everything. And so actually, we not necessarily make $25 in half an hour by selling a video. So they actually lost money, but I encourage them to do that. That's always the motto in our office. Yeah, and I'm trying to do that. It's very challenging, let me tell you. The workshops and it's hard to balance financially, and I need to survive to continue to do my work. Next, please.
That would be Rosalie. Rosalie, we don't have a picture of you, but you can go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. Hopefully you can all hear me at least. Okay. Yes, good. Okay. Just to comment, we do need to look after ourselves as well. And I love to, I really enjoy the stage 1 program with the people doing that first up. And then I'm doing 1-day courses, but what I'm doing is I offer an hour Zoom session a week or 2, couple of weeks beforehand for anybody that wants to come. And usually a couple of people take it up. Sometimes the majority of the group takes it up. They might have a little question or something like that, and it just helps to sort that out and help them with their learning and preparation. It also means that I've got a bit of an idea of where they're at with it, and can then we're coming into the workshop at least knowing some of the people in the workshop, if not all of them. And that just makes my task a bit easier too, because I can sort of juggle it a bit. Sometimes I've had more than one, I've offered more than one, but I've found that that really works well. And then we can always use the Zoom too to follow up perhaps if somebody's just not quite at it or haven't quite finished the stage 1, which of course I was supposed to do, and that's worked reasonably well too. But there'll always be people that will be not prepared, whether they've supposed to have done stage 1 or not. But the ones that are really good and keen, they're just so much better prepared. It's really great. So, you know, I'm all for it. Okay, thank you. Just a thought.
Thanks, Rosalie. That's nice. And like, likewise, Becky run those pre-workshop Zoom meetings too. Yeah, I think some of you did that as well. Sorry. Next.
Okay, Rosalie, would everyone please remove your hand when you. Thank you, Rosalie. And then when you have a question, use the reaction. The next one would be Virginia. Go ahead, Virginia.
I just wanted to clarify when the a person is attending a workshop, then they're going to get the stage. They have to pay for the stage 1, and do they have to pay for the? You want them still to buy the book and the DVD? And how about the DVD?
Stage 1 contain the DVD plus many more, a lot more material, but the DVD is within it. In fact, it's a cheap way to get the DVD for a year.
Okay, and I think it's
they
important
still got to get the teaching book.
Right, I think it's important to have them have it for a year so that they have that to go back and look at as they start teaching.
Right.
And
Virginia, you just brought an interesting point. I just realized if people, not many people with DVD player now, so if they subscribe online lesson as their material, that will last 2 months for paying $25 US for 2 months. But they, in the new system coming out, if they pay $56 US, they got the DVD for a whole year. That's 5 times 25. As well as that, they got the instructions, and they got 6 webinars, and it's a whole host of material that put it together is it's very valuable. So we are trying to sell 1,000 DVDs, making the same money as 100. Does it make sense that I jump a step? What I'm trying to say is that those things do cost. You think online things doesn't cost? It really does. And I'm cutting costs to reach more people. That's our goal. That's my goal in life, is to reach more people and be more accessible. Next, please.
Okay, we have a question from Sarah, and Rosalie had more to add to what she's spoken about. So Sarah, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Thanks. I wanted to say thank you, Dr. Lamb. I can really tell that you've been listening to all the feedback that you've been gathering over the last year and more. Really wanted to thank you for keeping an option. Up here in Alaska, our internet is not that great. So I'm likely going to be putting in the request to continue to do the in-person 2 days. Just wanted to clarify for whenever I need to do that, I need to do an in-person 2-day. Would I be sending the email to the service at taichi.org?
Absolutely, and I will write, this is just a preliminary chat. I will write more detailed things when we start moving. It will be a while yet. It just takes a lot of work to get done. Also, Sarah, I want to say I appreciate what you say early on, that I do try to listen, and it's so nice to be noticed. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, Rosalie, did you want to add a comment to what you had already spoken about?
Yes, I just meant to add when I was talking that my 1-day workshop is always an in-person workshop, particularly for the TCA FP, the initial one. We're talking about three-dimensional movement in a two-dimensional site. So I feel that the Zoom is not as good as an in-person, apart from the social aspect of it. But as an interim, it's very valuable. As a tool, it's very valuable. But yeah, I think it's important that the one-day workshop is in person. For me, anyhow, I need to do it in person.
Leslie, thank you for that. I absolutely agree. I guess, we only do Zoom if we can't do in person. I much prefer in-person workshop. I did a Zoom for exploring the depth of TCA and I did that a couple of times, and I have the workshop recorded. And then I did that one of the few times I did exploring the depth of TCA in one day. Usually it's a 2-day workshop. And it was so good, just face to face. I'm sorry, I love Zoom. I love catching up, talking to you. That's a valuable tool, but I love it more to see you in person. And yeah, just feel the three-dimensional things. So yes, I totally agree, Leslie. Thank you for bringing up this point. Pat, go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly clarify, because we're covering so much important information, and that the $56 is the special rate for MTs so that we could build it into the workshop price. But if somebody wanted to buy that preparation required package separately, it's
Oh, sorry, Pat. All this, of course, will be written clearly, but what it is you will have a code. If you give, they actually can't buy it off the MTs anymore. No, they buy it directly, but using your code. So every MT have a code. So your participant, if they buy it by themselves without coming to your workshop, they'll pay $80. But if they come into a workshop, you give them a code. The minute they pay your registration, and they get 30% off. So 56 is, so we don't want you to go through any more hassles of registering all that. It's just too much work. So we just give you a code and you give them the discount.
Yes, thank you. And I would like it to be kept as promotional pricing so that participants don't feel bad like they're getting overcharged at 80. It's just that that's a special promotional through.
Well, it's your MT discount. It's because I think there are people who buy the package stage 1 to learn, and over the years I met quite a number of people, Tai Chi teachers or students, who learn the DVD, read my book, and start teaching the program. And eventually, when they come to the workshop, they told me. And I'm really happy they do that. So there will be people who get the stage 1 or the preparation material, learn themselves and teach. That's better than they teaching without going through those things. So that's why that's for the public. Anyone can buy it for $80. But if they come to you at MT's workshop, the MT have a code we can give to your participants. And they will get that 30% discount without you do anything else, just passing the code.
Thank you.
Sure. And this is not finalized. I mentioned it, I already consult some people, but I'm listening to what you say, and I certainly will do my best to incorporate everything to make it workable for you, for everybody. Okay, well, I'd like to thank you for so much interest and involvement. Write to me. This would take at least 2-3 months before it go forward. It takes a lot of work. and to get it forward. So there are time that we will adjust it. If you need anything, let me know, give me the reason, email me. You know I answer every email. And I think we take a bit of time for the practice, but I think it's worth it. It's really important. So let's spend half an hour practicing, shall we? Should we do some practice? Yeah, let's go. Smile. Starting with body upright. And push as though there's gentle resistance. And slowly, slowly bend your neck. The second leg exercise, use your dantian to control, direct your hands. And each time, go just a little bit further. And one more each side. Roll gently once, twice, 3 times. Roll back once, twice, 3 times. Breathing in, pressing down, breathing out. Contract your pelvic floor muscles. Be mindful of keeping your back straight. Bend your hips as well as your knee. And then moving in large curve to the next. Feel the gentle stretch. Remember to keep a slight bend in your elbows, but song your joints from within, but not lock your joints. Do not lock the joints, just song the joints. Okay, let's make the next one the last. Use your dantian to turn. Be sure not to overturn. That will be twisting your back, which is not healthy. Using a dantian to just move the ball energy between your hands. One more each side. And then hip. Change side. And the last one. Knee. And if you can go high up, Last one. It's really good to practice your spiral force. So I forgot to mention about the next forum, which is next Sunday, an hour earlier than this time, but look at the website, and the topic is very different. It's Tai Chi and dancing. Essentially, we're looking at how dancing can improve our Tai Chi, or what is the connection. So I think it's going to be a fun forum. Be sure, come if you can, and tell your friends to come. The forum is free. It can be free. All you have to do is use the code no pay in one word, or you can pay a few dollars for the administration of it. All right, so we are going to do Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention plus part 2 to start with. Please follow me. Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention and part 2. Commence. Swing style 73. Commence. Okay. What? Tai Chi for rehab. Commence. How about, yeah, how about we do it again with the extension in the middle? Let's do that. I'll turn my back towards you. Forward V. Do that again. Tai Chi for rehabilitation with the extension. Commence. Well, it was great working with you. I will, when you are all sit down and ready to smile, I'll take a picture. I think this is the button. You ready? Smile.
The membership
Yeah, and
yeah.
yeah,
That bundle you
and
were
it
talking
will
about.
be the DVD for 2 months, to 4 months. But there's DVDs for 12 months plus all the material plus 6
Yeah.
webinars. Or
Great deal.
for 12 months.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, we tried, and I just think when I created stage 1, I have no intention to make it a required preparation at all. It was just like voluntary thing. Tried it out, see if you like it, and because I got so much positive feedback, and it's so effective that is why we're doing it. Still, we give you a choice. The master trainer can still make the choice. But I also like you to give it a really try, to give it a chance to see the difference that you would. Yeah. Especially people who keen, who actually go through the stage 1, which now is the preparation package. You'll find they are so well prepared. Bye, Sue. Bye, everyone. Bye, Annie.